Howdy, this is Lemmy with RevZilla TV, here to talk to you today about Progressive 430 series shocks. You should be looking into a set of 430s for your scooter if you want a motorcycle shock that doesn't force you into choosing between great looks and great suspension performance. Now the 430s are currently being made for quite a few standard shocked Harleys, Sporties, Dynas, and those of you guys on touring bikes. Softails, unfortunately, are out in the breeze because your suspension setup is totally different. These things are also being cranked out too for some Triumph Bonnevilles. Use our bike finder, we're going to show you exactly the stuff that fits your motorcycle. Now installation on these is pretty easy. You're looking at about 2 beards, but it's a qualified 2 beards on our BSD, our beard scale of difficulty, because really the only thing that pushes it into the difficult levels, you do need some sort of way to get your bike up in the air. Other than that though, it's pretty simple. We'll get to a little more install stuff in just a second. So the 430 series shock, as you can tell, is a very good looking shock that is definitely style driven. These things look fantastic, but fortunately they have the technical chops to back up those good looks. So everything you see up here is actually in their black finish. You can see these machined cuts in here, these contrast cut areas look really nice, really highlight the shock, but they also serve a little bit of functional purpose as well. These things allow your hand to grab on here to adjust your preload. You'll notice there's no area on here for a tool to hit this thing. They're totally toolless and adjustable for preloads. That's a step up over a lot of you guys who are rocking a Harley that don't even have preload adjustable shocks. However, the performance benefits don't end there. These are monotube deflective valving shocks. What does this mean? This is all sorts of fancy stuff there, a whole bunch of big words. Effectively what that means is that you have a shock that's not going to fade. The deflective valve design gives you good high-speed damping and low-speed damping. So whether the shock shaft is actually moving very rapidly or it's moving slowly, the deflective valve design, which is a little bit different than traditional shock designs, allows you to get good both high-speed and low-speed damping. Couple that up with the actual progressive spring itself in here, and you've got a really good riding shock. Now, a couple of you may be wondering, what's a progressive spring? A progressive spring, as you can see, is a spring that's wound tighter towards one end, coil-wise, than the other. The looser coils will wind up compressing first. So as you hit a small bump, the loose coils compress. But then if it turns out it's a real teeth-clicking bump you went over, those tightly wound coils at the bottom end of the shock tend to sort of compress as well, and they help isolate you from any type of a real big kidney shaker. The other thing that's cool about these two, we traditionally think of a progressive shock, again, as having the coils mounted at the bottom end. The tightly wound coils typically go towards the bottom, but because of these things' monotube design, you don't even have to mount them right side up. These can actually be mounted in either position. So if you find something looks a little better or fits a little bit better mounted upside down, or it'll help you out of some clearance issues, just remember you have the flexibility to mount these things right side up or upside down. All in all, these are a remarkably flexible shock, considering these things, again, they're style driven, but there really is some serious performance packed into these puppies. So installation, I talked about earlier, these being a 2-beard, and I feel like it's like a complicated one. They just edge over the line into that 2-beard installation. It's just not that hard to throw a set of shocks on your bike. Most typically with a Harley or a Triumph, you're really looking at only 4 bolts that hold these things in. So you're gonna have 4 fasteners to undo, you're gonna throw these puppies on there, and you're gonna head on down the road after you get everything snug back up. Like I said, the only thing that kind of pushes it into that 2-beard category is the fact you do need a way to get your rear suspension up in the air, whether that's going to be a bike jack or perhaps a track stand for those of you who are a little bit fancy, or you just need something. It can be as basic as just some 2x4s underneath the frame, but you do have to get the rear end of the bike up. It's the only thing that pushes it into the 2-beard category. Once you've got the bike up in the air, the process really is a breeze. Progressive shocks are fantastic. I've run them on a lot of bikes. I really do like their products. Can't beat them. They're just a really nice shock. However, my opinion is not the only game in town. Click below, see what some other folks who are rocking a set of 430s on their motorcycle have to say about them. If you've got a question that I didn't cover, you need a little bit of install or a fitment selection help, get in touch with one of our Gear Geeks. 877-792-9455 to get your Gear Geek live on the horn. You can always drop us an email too, cs@revzilla.com. I'm Lemmy. I'm out of here.